Cheers, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're back. This is our February live stream. I know it's March 2nd, but my math's never been so good. Anyway, I want to talk about a few travel things to get you ready. So our overall theme today is going to be about travel safety stuff. So as we go through answer your questions and what's going on, I'll give you updates where we're going and travels that are upcoming and such. I want to throw in a little travel safety tip when we go. And I think one of the big things when you're traveling around, don't bring the bling. Yes, I can actually fit into my wedding ring again after probably 4 years of not being able to fit into it. I do just fine now. I'm down actually 82 pounds since January 1st of last year. So working on that. Hey, Mark. Hey, Lori. Bri, good to see you. Mark as well. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. But I think that's one of those things. Is like now that I can fit in, I want to take it with me, but I know if I can get it off. It sounds silly. You may think, oh, it's fake gold. Oh, it's nothing. It's whatever. No, for people that don't know, if it's fake, it doesn't matter. It looks real. They're going to try to go for it. And we've got trips to Colombia, Chile, Brazil coming up. And I know those are places that, you know what, I'm not going to bring that. So if you got your bling, do be careful and maybe don't bring it, because that does attract attention, especially if you're going to places that aren't as economically well off. That does draw attention to you. And that's why, like, Jocelyn will leave her rings at home depending where we go. I know for me, like, I can fit into it, but I know she knows I still love her. But I'll probably leave this at home when we do that one, some of our trips. But that's one of the things I've seen over the years. I mean, when I lived in Brazil, I would meet this Russian guy would dress up, and this Swiss guy, they both would dress up like they were in Switzerland and Moscow every day to go to like language class or go hang out, and they would get robbed like once a week. And I'm like, stop dressing like you're in Switzerland. You're doing the bling. You got to take that stuff off. And the Russian guy would always get in there like he was there, like he was very well off. So he'd have like a new watch and it gets stolen all the time. And I never have any issues. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to make yourself a target. And I'm not saying there's people targeting people everywhere, but it's one of those things you got to think about it. What if I lose this? Will I be upset? Like if I lose my wedding ring, I'll be upset. I'm not leaving it home. So something to kind of think about as we start off. One of those early ones out there, just to remember that don't bring your bling when you're traveling. Now, if you're going to be going on a cruise where you're supposed to dress up, that's different, right? Or where you're going to go. But just something to kind of think about, because I think one of the things people make in terms of safety is they overpack and they have too much stuff. And therefore, if you've got 2 suitcases in a backpack, if someone steals one of your suitcases, you're not going to run after them because you still have a suitcase and a backpack, and they know that. And if you've got kids, the same thing happens. That's why it's really, really important that you pack light, because that's another big safety thing, because you're making yourself a target, but also you make yourself less mobile. So one of those things to kind of think about. John, good to see you, man. John Vogel, thank you, my friend. Big wide world. Hey, sunny Australia, sunny Sunday in Australia. Very nice. We were just talking to Laura, who's on here. She was just in Australia and New Zealand and talking about our future trips there, looking to go. So I think when we go down, we'll probably have about 3 weeks. And we're going to, fly to Sydney. I want to get to Brisbane because I have friends that are up there. So I want to see them in the Red Cliffs. Adelaide, I've always loved it. Those who know, I was an exchange student in Australia when I was a kid, and I loved Adelaide, fell in love with that city, love it. Probably Melbourne, and then I lived in a town called Temora, New South Wales. Lived with the Wright family, super nice family, wonderful family. The kids are great. I mean, just wonderful people. And I want to get back there outside of, they're by Temora, which is by Wagga, or Wagga Wagga, if you look it up. So I want to get there and see them. So that'll be probably our Australia trip. We're there, so we kind of like in the southeast corner kind of stuff. So my Perth friends, we probably won't get over there on this trip when we get there, but we will have some times there for that. So yeah, but it should be kind of fun. Let's see. John, Jimmy, Mark, have you been to Patagonia? I have. I've been actually 2 or 3 times. 4 times. I recall watching your videos before I went to Argentina, but I actually love Patagonia. Yeah. So when I most of my Patagonia trips were before I did Walter's World. And then we're going to be actually back down there this summer. So I don't know if I'll have a Patagonia only one, because that's kind of like that part of the trip is more of just a relaxation kind of stuff. So I might have some like short videos from there. But yeah, Patagonia is gorgeous. If you get a chance for the mountains. What I love the Andes is the jaggedness of it. It reminds me of the Dolomites. The Dolomites are just a different kind of mountain range. Andes definitely a different type of mountain range. That's very nice. Tyler, the cool guy, good to see you. Nice to have you on there. Hey, Darian, good to see you. Mark Finley, always a pleasure. Lori, let's see. Down picks for Crete. We're staying just outside Heraklion. Okay, so if you're going to be in Heraklion, you can get into town. I wouldn't worry about. There's actually parking downtown Heraklion. You can do it, but I would just like Uber in or taxi and then Uber back out or taxi back out to where you're staying, just so you don't have to deal with the parking, and then you can actually eat as much as you can or want. For there, it's wandering the markets in the downtown. What I'd say if you're in Crete, it's worth it to go down to Hania. It's worth it to go to the Palace of Knossos where the Cyclops was, that labyrinth that's there. That's really well doing. But get there early in the morning before the tourist bus comes, or come later in the afternoon after most of the tour hordes have left. Otherwise, it can be a bit overwhelming. San Nicolas is okay, but it's not that cool. But if you go to the very east, you go to the very west of the island, they have these pink beaches with pink sand, very cool. And there's a really great gorge you can hike as well, where they check you in and out to make sure they don't like leave you there during the day. So hope that helps. Hello. How are you, Yowzers? Good to see you. Let's see. All right. Lots of questions on here. I'm going to scroll back through because you know how it is. I have one thing, then there's one thing you see, and there's another thing I see. Let's see. So Travis, I wrote back to this, but this is for a lot of you. Travis asked for an in-depth video on travel insurance. We actually do have one. If you look up the don'ts of travel insurance, Walter's World, it will come up. And here's the thing, for a lot of people, they don't realize, like, we will not come up automatically. Like, you have to put in the destination and Walter's World to make us come up, because things that were filmed before COVID, a lot of people are like, oh, everything's changed. No, nothing's changed. Like, nothing really. Like, the sites and stuff are still pretty much the same. That's why I still stand behind my videos from 10 years ago, because some are still, I find, are the most helpful that are online. And this is one that we did maybe 2 years ago, and it's still 100% helpful. Travis, go in there, you see what you need to get. Anyone that is on Medicare or Medicaid, I'm not saying you are, Travis, but if you're on Medicaid, remember that doesn't cover you abroad. There's certain packages, like you can pay for it to add on, it still might not cover it. You have to get insurance when you go. And if you travel a lot, you might want to look into like a yearly program. But if you're just only on one trip, you can always buy it when you buy your plane tickets. Just get it out of the way. And if you didn't buy it when you buy your plane tickets, you can go to places like Allianz or Alliance. Sorry, that's the German version of it. And you can buy it there. You just tell them when you're going to be flying or where you're going, and they can hook you up. So let's see. Hi, Lori. Good to be here with you too. Hey, Brian. Glad I can surprise you up on here. Let's see. Greg Parker, do you think about Apple Watches when traveling? Should I wear them? So if you wear it normally, Greg, it depends where you're going to go. If you're going to Japan, if you're going to China, if you're going to Europe, you're probably going to be fine. If you're going to places where the GDP is rather lower or there's issues, I would probably shy away from that. Now, if you have to have it because you have, like, if you have a pacemaker or something that tracks it, then you need to have it anyway. But that's one of those things sometimes when it talks about safety, that's one of those things, like, if it's something you can leave behind, leave it behind. Because there's sometimes, it's kind of like when people overpack. They think, well, I might need this. Well, I might need these 9 different sweaters if these 9 different situations happen. No, you'll be fine. So, Greg, if you wear it all the time, keep wearing it if you feel better with it. Where you're going to go, you'll be fine. But, yeah. Thank you, Mark. I'm glad you liked the post. Very nice. Allison, hey. Oh, well, thanks for popping in before I went to bed. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the fist pump. Let's see. Oh, nice. Let's see. Okay, Abe. So, Abe, I've got a bunch. I was in Austria, actually, in December and filmed a bunch of stuff in Salzburg and Innsbruck. I'm going to tell you right now, Hallstatt, 2.5 days in Hallstatt, it is a town of like 1,000 people. That is too long. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a cute town, but it gets overrun with tourists during the day, and then they leave. So if you're staying overnight, and if you have a place, make sure you have a place, then you can enjoy it because you actually meet some of the locals, but it gets so overrun during the day. They're really trying, like, Hallstatt's one of those cities that's fighting back against the tourism kind of stuff. So be aware of that. Yeah, 2.5 days is a long time in a small town. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I will not lie to you. Hallstatt's probably one of the most beautiful scenes and scenery places you can find in Europe. And I don't know what you want to do when you're there. But yeah, 2.5 days. It depends. Like you could do 2.5 days there, enjoy your time, be fine. However, you want to do likes to do a lot of things. It might be a bit much. Maybe 2 days, like get in there in the evening, have the whole day there, then leave the next morning to go to your next destination, depending where you're going to be going. That's how I would kind of put it. Let's see. Mark Finley, we're leaving for New York a week from Thursday. Awesome. Staying in Hell's Kitchen for a night before catching a cruise ship for 10 days. Very cool. Yeah, no, like that's one thing I love about New York. Like Hell's Kitchen, there's so many good restaurants around there. Like it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to eat well. And New York's one of those awesome places. Like I love going there because it's just such a cool city. There's so much to do, so much to eat, so much to do. And it's for everyone. We're young, old. You like history. You like art. You like sports. You like eating. You like doing nothing. New York's got a lot of really, really good stuff for you when you're there. And I think, kind of looking at these things, when you go to New York, a lot of people get freaked out. I'm going to give you a little safety advice. A lot of people get freaked out when they go to New York. And you have to realize in New York, it's a little different. Like you will see a male appendage pretty much guaranteed, especially if you're on the subway. Like I was there, last Christmas? No, the Christmas before. And the Megan is a tour guide, official tour guide in New York City. She was taking me around. She's like, yeah, I usually see a penis a day. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, on the subway. I'm like, really? I'm like, and no joke, we got off the subway, walked out. There's a guy passed out on the stairs with his stuff out. So do be aware of that. But you probably don't need to call 911 for that. But one thing I will say is wherever you're going to travel the world, make sure you know the emergency numbers. Because like 911 is in the US, but 112 is in other places. And some places actually have emergency numbers in English for tourists. Maybe save it in your phone. Why not? You might not ever need it, but it's good to have it. And make sure you put the plus, whatever the local, country code is, to make it a little bit safer for you. So you have that. Tim, good to see you from Kansas City. I'm actually speaking in Kansas City later this year. Not for travel. I'm speaking about social media marketing for the National Conference for Farm Managers and Appraisers. So sounds fancy, but very nice people. So they're having me come and I'm talking about social media marketing and helping them out to grow their businesses. So you have a conference, you want someone to talk about travel or social media. That is my two specialties. So, Ryan Donna's on here. Ryan, how you been, man? I haven't seen you forever. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Hi, Shady Hill Homestead. Let's see. Tomorrow, if I only had 2 days in Ghent, Belgium, what would you recommend I see? Okay, so Ghent with 2 days, you got plenty of time. It's very compact. But one thing I would say, if the little boats are running where you can take the boat on the river and go around, do that. It is well worth it. That's really fun to do. It's beautiful. There's a couple museums there. There's an alcohol museum. There's a French fry museum you can go to when you're there. But Ghent is one of those things, if you're going on a weekend, do be aware it's kind of popular for Brits for stag nights and stuff because of the beer. So it might get a little loud. But if you're there during the week, you'll be fine. You'll have a good time. So going movies. So many nice comments. Thank you, everybody. Timothy, I have not been to Winnipeg, so I don't have much to say there, sadly. Oh, Rob, thank you. Thanks so much for all the information you provided. So my wife and I, a ton as we do what we can to travel the world. Oh, thanks, man. That's what we try to do. We're trying to help other travelers travel, our fellow travelers out there. And that's what's fun about this. When I make the videos, sometimes, I've been making these videos. Walter's World's been around. So Walter's World started in April of 2009. So this will be 15 years of Walter's World travel videos. That's crazy. And I actually started 2 years before that making videos on another channel for other stuff. And it's weird how many people have been able to help over the years. And it's really nice. And when there's those times, there was a big buzz, last month, oh, why are all these YouTubers quitting? I'm like, I'm not going to quit. One, because I love what I do, but also I know that I'm helping people. And I know that for example, I'm going to Colombia. And I know people worry about going to Colombia. Am I going to get kidnapped? Is Pablo Escobar going to come get me? these kind of things. Like I want to help people travel so they're going to go someplace they feel better. They know what's there. And so like, and especially now with the amount of really bad travel advice on TikTok and Instagram, because you can only say so much in like, a minute or less. And I feel like it's become my duty to like, let's just get as much content out to help people as we can, because there's so much bad stuff out there. Like that's one thing I got to say is don't take my word for everything. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm an old man and I want to help people. And you've seen me, you've watched my videos, but I mean, I want to help. And I'm not doing this to show off. I'm not doing this to make the money. I'm doing this to help. And that's one of those things you'll see. Like some people are doing these because, oh, this is the way I can write off my travels. I knew I could do these things. And that's where I'm seeing a lot of people now. They like, you'll see the TikToks, the Instagrams, and on YouTube, they have no passion. They don't care. It's more like, I got to make this video because I looked it up online and then I can write this off. I can make money this way. And I'm like, yes, I do make money on this. I'm not going to lie to you. But for me, the real payoff is helping the people. Like when I get people, like I had a person send me a letter, my day job. I got a thank you letter from a chiropractor in Kentucky saying, thank you that you helped him and his family. I helped him and his family do a, Christmas market trip coming up. I'm like, well, that's really cool. Like, I know I'm helping people. Or when I bump into people around and they come up and say, hey, or heck, I'll go to my own grocery store. And people are like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I live here. Do I know you from the gym? They're like, no, I watch your videos all the time. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Thank you. So like those are the things that make it worthwhile. And I know that's one thing I hope these people that are starting their social media journeys now, like starting to do all these travel channels and stuff, I hope they realize it, because that's what will help them keep going. Because if you're doing it because you think you have to do it, it's not going to work. If you do it because you want to do it and you know you're getting some out of it, it makes it a lot easier to deal with. Not deal with, but like easier to do. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's been a long day. Like, so I had Liam was sick all last week, and then last night Caleb threw up like every 2 hours until noon today. So it's been a fun couple of weeks, people. And I know I got a few more days of some sick kids here. So, oh man. Oh, oops. I just had a huge jump. Wow. I didn't realize there's like 50 comments that I totally missed. I'm sorry. Brigadier. My dog is growling. Can you hear him? Quinlan, you keep asking me about this. We're going to get there when we can get there, man. We will get there when we can get there. Don't you worry. Quinlan follows me on Instagram, writes a lot. Because we were supposed to go to Egypt and Ethiopia last summer. We ended up going to Israel instead. And then things went. We didn't get to go. So this summer it's a little different because this is Caleb's last like summer home before he moves out. Like he's going to, like, oh my God, yes, our kids are growing. And so he wants to do Brazil with a friend of his and go see another friend of theirs. So that trip is now been moving. So we'll get there eventually. Don't worry, Quinlan. We are going to get there. I'm not sure when, but we will get there. That is on the list of places. Don't you worry. GS Phillip, thank you very much for the super chat. Hey, Mark, planning our first trip to Scotland in September. Good time. It'll be a little cool sometimes, but the main travel tourist things will be gone. I will say this. If you're going to be in Glasgow and Edinburgh and Aberdeen, you'll be fine for accommodation. But if you're going to go like Isle of Skye or to those places, check now to see if they're actually going to be open, because some places like close the end of August and they're like, we're done. We're not going to do anything else for the rest of the day or the rest of the season or the rest of the year. So check those things out. Okay, so sorry. I answered a question you didn't ask. What would be your must-sees for people that aren't city folk? Okay, so you want to go to the Isle of Skye, do that. Also, you can fly up from Aberdeen or Edinburgh. You can fly up to the Shetland Islands. I got videos on there. Orkney, you can go up there. Very different because there's no trees. So it's a totally different experience when you go up there. But that's a really cool place to go. I would do the North Highlands. If you're not city folk, I would go to the North Highlands. And if you are city folk, the cities outside of Glasgow and Edinburgh, the cities aren't really big cities. Like you can get so much out of it. So I would definitely spend the time hitting up those, doing that. And you're going to have a car. Like there's some trains that get you some places, but the thing is, in September, all the summer tourists have kind of taken off, so you have a little bit more freedom on the road. So don't be scared about renting a car and exploring there. That would be what I would do. Thank you, Quinlan. I appreciate it. Paul, good to see you, my friend. The Salzburg Festival, overhyped and overpriced, or a worthwhile splurge? It depends if you like the music. If you like the music, it's well worth it. If you're not a big fan of music, I would save your money and go to Salzburg at a different time. Like that's one of the big things. Like, but I will say for like city festivals, it is one of the better ones because there's so many things going on around the city. But Salzburg's not really that big. It's like, I don't know, 250,000, 500,000 metro, whatever. I mean, it's not a mega city out there, but it's so pretty. You have a good time, but it does. I mean, it gets a lot of people and it can be pricier there than other times. And Salzburg is not a cheap place. It's not Switzerland, but it's not a cheap place to go. But if you're going to go during that time, Paul, if you want to go, like if there's any tours, any guided stuff you want to do, you want to book that stuff as soon as possible because a lot of those places, they'll have higher prices at that time. So you can do that. But if you're going to be going just the festival stuff, it's pretty fun. And if you can't stay in Salzburg, you can get there. You know, it's like on the local, it's not even the fast train that goes from Munich. It's like on the normal train from Munich that goes there. So some people do a day trip from there. So I hope that helps. Yes, Brigadier Lethbridge Walters. He is named after the Brigadier from Doctor Who. A fun fact for you. See, you learned something new. Alaska Aviation. What do you recommend I see in Rome for 2 days? So for 2 days, you got to go. I would sign up to do an early entry tour to the Vatican Museum so you can see the Sistine Chapel. I do that, then see St. Peter's. That's like your morning to midday kind of stuff. I would do that, and then I would like walk through the city, you know, Trevi Fountain and those things, like kind of, you know, Spanish Steps, see those things in there. Piazza Navona, have that. That's day one. Day two, that's when I would do the Colosseum and the Forum. The Colosseum, you can book that online, and so you can have it timed out, so you can do that for you. So that's what I would recommend. Ooh, Primetime Travelers booked our first trip for Europe for 2025. 2 cruises from UK and Spain. Nice, very nice. See. Ian, I hope I didn't give you nightmares. Ian, just got for 2 weeks in Italy at night. We didn't have any English TV, so we watch your videos on YouTube almost every night. I love it. And I feel bad because now I have a bunch of Italy stuff coming up. So tomorrow we're gonna have my favorite 5 places in Italy. We're gonna have, let's see, I don't have my notes with me. Like this month, we'll have, I think there's the Don'ts of Sorrento on Walter's World Eats. If you see down there, that's going by right now. We'll have like the Eats the Amalfi Coast and Sorrento there too. I think I have a new Love and Hates of Italy coming out. Like I've got a bunch of Italy stuff that's coming on here. Also on the Walter's World Shorts channel, that's where that's like the vertical video stuff. There'll be a bunch more Italy things going on. So I feel bad you were just there and I missed it. I'm sorry, but that is pretty funny and that I like that. So I hope you didn't have nightmares when you went to bed. Edward's happy. So what do we do with our dog when we travel? They stay with a relative? Yeah, actually my cousin, he dog sits for us. He did a number of times dog sat for us. Actually, 2 of our long summer ones. So, you know, they say go to the pound and get your dog. We did. He's a pound puppy. So he's the most expensive free dog ever because he had to get 2 new knees. And each time he had new knees, it was an 8-week recovery process, and he literally can't get up. Like he can go pee and he has to go back down. So the vet is like, we will do that for you because you have little kids and they'll feel sorry for the dog and let him out, and it'll ruin his surgery. So 2 summers in a row, Brig was literally during our trip was at the vet in recovery. So that was 2 summers. Then we had 3 summers with my cousin that was here. So there's that. But also we have a fantastic doggy daycare. I can't say it out loud because Brig's like, let's go. Like Brig gets very excited, like inappropriately excited when we talk about doggy daycare. So we have some good places there. Valencia. Okay, so if you're going to go there, go to the market, pick up some saffron when you're there. There'll be a lot of the fake saffron, but you know when you go to the market, that's fantastic. Also do a paella class. Also check out the Art Deco architecture in the city. It's fantastic. It's really great. We have a 5 Love and Hates of Valencia. I don't know why I didn't make a Don'ts of Valencia video. Like, in terms of the videos that I like to watch of mine, that when I go to a destination, because we travel all over, I'll actually watch my old Don'ts videos, or I'll go to walterworlds.com and find my blog about it, and I'll read through it again just to review. By the way, our website, walterworld.com, if you have Android on your computer, there's no problem. But apparently if you have iPhone, sometimes there's issues with it. We're working on that, so hopefully we can do that. So let's see. Joni, so thank you very much. I appreciate you loving the channel. Best place to eat in Amsterdam, not the red light district. Basically, traditional Dutch food isn't that great. Go for like um, like Indonesian food. The Indonesian food there, where the Dutch East Indies companies, like any country that was one part of the Dutch East Indies, those restaurants are fantastic. Oh, Beth, Bordeaux is wonderful. We have a Dones of Bordeaux, a Shocks of Bordeaux. I did not make an Eats of Bordeaux, unfortunately, but I've filled a bunch of stuff there. You'll love it. The wine museum is cool. They'll do a wine tour and then maybe no, go to the wine museum first and do the wine tours. Just go sign up for a day when they'll drive you around. They'll take you like 3 of them or something like that. It's really nice. Those are worth doing. But the food in Bordeaux is fantastic, and you can go to the beach when you're down there too. Edinburgh Fest, we were there for that a few years ago. Okay, Nora. Hey, Nora. Oh, hey. I hope you're doing well. Cheers. Our Greece trip is booked for May. What type of Acropolis tour do you recommend? We don't want to miss anything. So the Acropolis tour, you don't really need to book a tour. What I would do is read up before you go up in there. Actually, this is how I would do it. I would go to the new Acropolis Museum, which is right next door. I would go through that and take all that in. Okay, so you get a good feel for it. Go to the National Museum, like with all the historical stuff in there. Take that in. Then go see the Acropolis and go explore it on your own. And there's a lot of stuff that's online. You can do it that way. But you can get tour guides that will take you up there. If you're going to do that, do not do the one that says small group, because that can be like 20-some people. Just pay the extra. I mean, it won't be that much more for you, especially if you have a group of people, to get your own private guide to take you to do stuff. I would have them do, and then you can ask some questions. They'll walk you through. Yeah, so that would be, does that help, I guess? And I don't know when you're going. I literally, my editors and I are working on the mistakes of Athens right now. And my editors, bless them, they've never been to Athens. They don't know. And so they have the Acropolis in like 80% of the video. I'm like, dude, we got to show other stuff. So today I was making notes. I'm like, put this in here, put the Temple of Jupiter in here. So we're trying to put some more things in there. Let's see. Oh, Traveling Freaks, thank you very much. 8 days in Japan for the first time. Plan to do 4 in Tokyo and 4 days between Osaka, Kyoto. This May. Doable. Yes. Also, there's in Honolulu before. Yeah, that is a perfect mix. Because here's the thing. Tokyo, you have all the new. In Tokyo, you're going to go neighborhood by neighborhood. It's so big, you can't not do that. You can just focus on the neighborhood. Look what's around there. Look what's around there. Do those. Do that. That'll take up all your time. Kyoto, much smaller, you can get around, but it's like you have some of the new stuff, like the Manga Museum is really cool. But there's so many UNESCO World Heritage sites that are there. Like the temples are really cool. The Golden Temple, you got to see that when you're there. But yeah, between the two, and you don't really need to get the JR pass if you're only going back and forth, because literally that back and forth is the same price as the JR pass. So you have that. The Mountain Stars. I'm just going to say that. I hope that works. Any safety concerns in Aruba? No. I know with Natalie Holloway, that is something people always harass us on our Aruba video about, and it's a horrible, there's nothing to say. That's a horrible, she was killed, like she was murdered. But for tourists that are there now, Aruba's one of the safer places you can go in the Caribbean. Like we went there with our kids. We weren't worried. The only thing I would worry about, sunblock, if you go on the east side of the island. The west side of the island, those beaches are safe. You go to the east side, they're very rough. And so if you have little ones, they could get taken. So you don't swim on the east side, swim on the west side. That's my main thing there. Heidi, any tips for Croatia going in June? Dubrovnik will be packed, but Split's beautiful. And do the small islands in Dalmatia. Going down there, because I'm going to guess you're going to be doing more on the Dalmatian coast. That's well worth doing it. Let's see. Jim and Kathleen, we were traveling to 8 countries in 18 days next year: Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Slovenia, Italy, Germany, and Austria. Too much? It's a lot. But you know what? When I see people doing this, I've done it before myself. It gives you a taste of all those different places. So when it comes to making another trip, you might say, you know what? I thought Poland and Slovakia were really cool, but Hungary and Slovenia weren't for me. I mean, I love Slovenia. So it might be to give you a good taste. That's why when people do like cruises or they do like bus tours, I always say, look, it's good to give you an idea of what's out there, because then when you want to spend more time in one destination, you can do that. So in that, it's a lot. You won't get a lot of time. But what I worry about trips like this is you're going to spend too much time in trains and buses and driving and planes and airports, that if it's 18 days, is it 7 of those days in the airport? Like that's where I teach for my day job. And so I have college students. I'm a college professor, and my students will come talk to me about their, post-graduation Europe trip. And they're like, we're going to go to, 18 countries, but they're like 18 countries in 8 days. And I'm like, you're going to spend all this time in the airports. Well, the flight's only like a 45-minute flight. I'm like, yeah, but you still have to get at the airport. That takes an hour. You got there an hour before. That's 2 hours. The flight, So now 6 hours your day is gone because you're flying. That's the one thing I'd worry about. CM, which of the Caribbean islands would you recommend for a first-time Caribbean visit? Turks and Caicos. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty safe, pretty expensive. Puerto Rico, because it's very much like going to the U.S. So for a lot of people, it's just an easier kind of step. So that there is that. Timothy, what's up about Andorra? I actually have a Don't Say Andorra and Eat Andorra video out there. The hikes and the shopping, or the skiing and the shopping. That's all there really is, to be honest. And they tell you that too. Hey, Rob for TripX D.C. Hey, Mark, only 3 weeks till spring. Spring break travel is going to be bonkers this year. Yeah, I can't believe I thought this year things might calm down a little bit, and the airlines and the hotel chains, everybody were projecting a slowdown in travel, and we were all wrong. We were all wrong. I can't believe the prices for tickets to Europe and other places this summer. I've got Colombia coming up. I've got Europe. I've got Chile. I've got Brazil. I've got some U.S. stuff, but I'm like, oh my God, my end is summer, because usually I do another trip towards the end of the summer where it's like, this one's a filming trip. There's other ones where I take the whole family, but there's times I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for 2 weeks and I'm going to not go film a bunch of stuff. So we have some content. And when I travel, sometimes it's easier for me just to know that this is a filming trip. And so it's like, I wake up, literally the 3 weeks, 4 weeks before I go, it's like research and note taking and watching and reading and everything and getting some notes together. Then when I get there, it's they'll film up in the morning, research, going around seeing stuff. The first couple of days in the city, I'm filming tip videos, not for the city, but for general travel. And then at the end of the stay at that city, then I'm making the city stuff. And it's but it's kind of like a thing. I'll wake up, do my morning filming, hit lunch. Then usually lunch, I'll film a food thing. And then afternoon, I'll go see sites. And then I film when they close at 5. Then I film until it gets dark, and rinse and repeat again and again and again in August. And since it's light until 9 or 10 at night in Europe, a lot of times I can do a lot of filming. But yeah, I'm looking at those prices and I'm thinking, you know what? I think I might do an end of summer road trip. So yeah. Oh, pay a bubble. Hey, I'm going to DC next year with school. Any tips for someone who's never visited the States before? I love the channel. So Pale Bubble, the person right above you on the thing, Trip Hacks DC. Rob, fantastic dude, fantastic tour guide for DC, but also tons of videos to explain what to see and do when you go there. I would watch the stuff. You'll be the coolest kid in class that knows what's going on. I recommend that. If you never visited the U.S. before, you'll be surprised how many beggars there will be on the metro, the subway. But the subway in DC works really well, which is unlike everywhere else in the U.S., except for maybe New York. Be careful at night. And you'll be surprised when you go to DC how empty it is at night, because it's all people working and it really disappears. Thank you, Monica. It doesn't show up here. I'm sorry, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. Matthew, what are we doing in Israel? So I filmed, let's see, a Don'ts of Tel Aviv, which is out. We filmed a Don'ts of Israel, a Mistakes Travelers Make in Israel, Eats of Israel, hotel review videos. We did, what else? Do you feel safe when you're in Israel? I probably did 8 or 9 videos when I was there. And we were in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Sea of Galilee. We were up there. I loved it up there. Dead Sea, we were there. Then we went over to Jordan and traveled there. So we have a bunch of videos from there, but obviously I can't put them out. I'm not putting them out right now, but I will put them out this summer because I know some people are starting to travel back there. And I want people to be prepared wherever they're going to travel. That's why we have videos. Like people are like, you should take down your Russia videos. Like there's still people that are going there, and I want to make sure they're safe. So I want to give advice that I would want to know if I was going someplace. So we have those there. So those will be coming out soon. So. Jose Hernandez, thank you very much for the super chat. Any recommendations for a brewery to visit in Brussels or Bruges? Also, is German beer better than Belgian beer? So German beer is more traditional beer that you're thinking of. Belgian beer is usually like their famous beers are like flavored beers are their better stuff. They both have fantastic beers. If you want to do a brewery tour, though, I would probably go to Leuven for a brewery tour if you want, like, that's where Amstel's made. Like, that's the big brewery kind of stuff. But if you go to Bruges, Brussels, I wouldn't. Don't worry, spend a day there. Go to Bruges, stay there. There's some smaller breweries you can go visit when you're there. I can't think of off the top of my name. Or I can't think of off the top of my name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. So sorry. But there is that. But for me, I do like German beer better than Belgian beer, just because Belgian beer a lot of times is a lot stronger because they can put extra stuff in it, whereas Germans are not allowed to. So you get a better taste sometimes, but you get a banger of a headache. So be aware of that. But they have some good stuff. Hoegaarden's my favorite Belgian beer, to be honest. Let's see. Oh, Neil, thanks. I gone to Austria 2 years ago. Your video was very helpful. Thank you. Thanks, Neil. If you're going back, I got more stuff coming from there. Yeah, so I've lost all this weight. So it's like I said, it's like 82 pounds since last January, and I'm trying to get all my fat videos out. So that's the reason why I need to get my Israel videos out, because I think I peaked my fatness last summer. Because like I'm 82 down from when I was my fattest, but I looked my fattest actually last summer when I was probably like 72 pounds more than I am now. And I want to get all those out of the way because it's like, okay, get those out of the way. And I have so many videos that literally will take up all of 2024 to get rid of all the huskier Mark videos to have less husky Mark showing up in the 2025, but they'll still be newer videos. And some people get really concerned when they see like a really, really fat video with a less fat video. And they're like, what's going on? But I will have, since I lost a bunch of weight before I was in Austria, and filmed there. So we'll have a bunch of new Austria stuff actually in December. Oh, there'll be some other ones popping up too. So, oh, the empty nesters. I gotcha. See, now I can't not see it. Now I can't not see it. You're right. Tech Boy, thank you very much for the super chat. Headed to Portugal, Lagos, renting a car. Do we need an international driver's license? No. Planning to drive the southern coast. What do you recommend? Okay, so Lagos is cool. Go take you could do like little smaller boat tours. Like you would do like small boats, like that hold like 8 people max. That'll go into the grottos there. That's really cool. Because you and the bigger ones, they stay outside. You want to go in and see them. That's what's really cool. I mean, they have them all over. You'll be fine. Albufeira, when you're like Albufeira, Lagos area, they're from there. Those are fun. Lots of party stuff to go to in Faro and Lagos and Albufeira too. One thing I would say, if you go to Faro is the capital of the Algarve, but you're going to take the train to there. Like if you're taking the train, that's where you get the train back up to Lisbon. They do have a bone chapel that's kind of cool. You can go over to Sagres and you can see where the Henry the Navigator had his sailing school, which is kind of cool to check out. Do be aware that that's like at one time that highway down there was the deadliest highway in Europe because lots of little rally drivers and lots of tourists equal lots of accidents. So do be careful. Also, don't worry about speaking Portuguese down there because so many Brits and Germans have retired down there and bought stuff down there. Whenever I used to live in Portugal, I lived there for 5 years. Every time I went down the Algarve, I was most of the times the only person that spoke Portuguese that I ran into. So have a heads up for that. Stacia, tips for multi-generational family. I actually have a few videos on that. Just look at multi-generational family, Walter's World on YouTube. It should come up. I did it with my mom. I might do another one because her and I are going to England and Wales and Ireland this year too. So I'll probably film some more there. But one of the biggest ones, you got to get all generations in because the problem is if grandma's paying, then it becomes grandma's trip and you do everything grandma wants, but then everyone else hates it because it's all grandma's stuff. You got to have stuff for every person. It's like when you travel with your kids, you got to have buy-in from them. So let them choose some of the destinations. So it's, hey, this is your day. Today's my day. We did your stuff, and that works better. It doesn't always work, but that could be a little bit more helpful. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Thanks, Ian. I appreciate the love. Jimmy Jazz, any thoughts on driving the Baltic countries or better to do train? No, don't do the train. There's no trains. Well, there are trains, but they're worthless. The Baltics are buses and cars. Just rent a car, drive around there. It's all easy. I mean, I lived there for 3.5 years. You'll be fine. You will be fine. Best compression socks. Oh, I used to have a really good pair from Duluth Trading Company. Those are ones that last a long time. But one thing I would tell you, Joni, depending when you're going to fly, I actually have thin ones and then I have thick ones. So I'm like if I go to like a cold weather country. So when I get off, I don't actually take those off. I wear those all that first day because usually I'm on the train or on the plane, and then I get off and then we're doing stuff and I keep them on all day. But I want to make sure I have the right ones for when I travel. So that'll be one thing to think about. Do you ever get anxiety, depressive feelings when solo traveling? Yeah, I do actually. Jocelyn will tell you, like, when I get to the airport, like after my first flight, and like usually it's to Atlanta, I'm like, I wish you guys were with me. She's like, oh, shut up. So yeah, I do miss my family when I travel around. Now I always try to make sure I schedule in to see a friend. And sometimes I'm meeting a YouTuber or something like that when I go, just so. Because solo travel, like people talk, I have a video on the like lies of digital nomad life, or like the bad parts they don't talk about. And one of the things is like it's lonely, and you can do lonely for a while, but eventually it gets a little much. But usually for me, because I'm doing work, I'm traveling, it gives me something to focus on, so that's a little more helpful. But yeah, no, it does happen. Have you ever done a video on where you live and where is the best place to visit there? Yeah, well, when I lived in Portugal, I did that. When I lived in Germany, I did that. When I lived in Brazil, I did that. So a lot of places I have lived, I've done those. I don't have one on exactly where I live now, just because the whole, like, poop where you live kind of stuff. So I don't want my neighbors mad at me or happy with me. It's like, yeah, you know what? I like when you randomly find me. Oh, Basic American Dad abroad. Good to see you. Thanks again for the dog tips advice on the previous stream. Our golden doodle, shepherd doodle, is all set to join us from the USA for somewhere in the you got the passport from. Nice. Lots of papers, but doable. You are right. It's a lot of papers, but it is very much doable. Okay, Mark, this is a good one. Hey, Mark, if you go to a country notorious with food poisoning, would you recommend packing Bismol, Pentel? Yes. I would actually bring that and Gas-X and Imodium, and not just like the extra strength one, because we've been nailed. Like, I remember we were in El Salvador, and we had to ask the hotel to get us water whenever we needed water. We wanted water. We ended up getting one of the security guys with his AK-47. He's like, sure, and he just got the water he gets and gave it to us. And Liam wouldn't drink it. Caleb had a sip. Jocelyn drank like a whole thing, and I had like a glass. And we were proportionally that sick. And what the thing was, like, I was throwing up. It's like, if you ever watch X-Files, that black sludge stuff, it was black sludge. And what was bad is I was stuck on a toilet at 1:30 in the morning. Our toilet was outside of our place. And I'm literally like, I'm dying, like just blah, blah. And there was an earthquake, and we were literally 50 meters from the water. I'm like, we're going to die in a tsunami, and I'm going to be shitting myself while this happens. And we had stuff. Luckily, we took enough stuff to we could stop the puking, got it down so I could actually, because we flew out the next day. So we had to get back to the airport in San Salvador, and got back, and it was okay. But yes, we always bring that. Jocelyn always has, and always have like a full list of stuff. So let's do that. Michael, that's going to be a fun trip, my friend. And thank you very much for the super chat. We plan on driving from Lisbon to Seville in August. Is this a safe trip? Yes, we've actually done that. Actually, when Liam was a baby, that was his first international trip. He was born in Lisbon, and we got the car in Lisbon. If you're going to get at the airport in Lisbon, be aware. The circle, like, exit going out of the parking garage is very tight. And my dad, we didn't get out of the parking lot. My dad hit a pole in the little turny thing. So he couldn't complain, because I know if I would have done that, he would have killed me. But he did. He's like, arr. But there's that. But the drive is very easy. And honestly, if you got your own car, it's way better than the buses and other ways to get there. So, and safe trip, you'll be fine. Portuguese drive a little quick, but once you're outside of Lisbon, you're fine. You'll be fine. Tyler, cool guy. Jocelyn wants to go to Ocean City this summer, mostly Maryland, because there's a concert there she wants to go to. So we shall see. Jealous. I'll be there one day, Pipma. Yipma. I will be there one day. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Vlogging through history. Thank you very much for the super chat. Before 2022, I'd never been to Europe. Now I've made 10 trips in 2 years. That's awesome. with 5 more this year. And your videos have been essential viewing for my profession. Thanks for what you do. Thank you. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I'll check out your channel, Vlogging Through History. That sounds... I might. Because there's a lot of channels like that I've followed over the years because I'm a big history person. Like I won the Daughters of American Revolution Award for history stuff when I was a kid. It's always been my big thing. My grandfather, yeah. Yes, I am subscribed. Yeah. So my son and I watch some of your videos. But my grandfather had a PhD in history. And so when I was a kid, when I go visit him, we go to Revolutionary War forts around the Northeast and in Ohio. Ohio was related, but yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much. It's really nice of you. I appreciate it. And have great trips. I mean, that's awesome. 5 more trips. I'm jealous. That's cool. Jim and Kathleen, hello again. Thanks for your advice. Love your channel. Hey, Jim, Jim and Kathleen, I'm glad I could help out. I wish you fantastic travels, my friends. Carl, Arkansas. We had some good times there. We had Thanksgiving there during COVID. My Jocelyn's she's Greek, so it's an uncle, but it's not like uncle. It's one of these, family friend things. We celebrate that with them. I'm looking at a trip to Southeast Italy. Would you recommend staying overnight in Matera or just taking a day trip out of Bari? I love that area. It's a fantastic one when you're there. I would overnight in Matera because it's so cool. Do an overnight there. Do an overnight in Bari as well. Pogliano a Mare is a good beach town, but the beaches are out of town, but it's a good town to visit. The guy saying "Volare," oh, that's where he's from. They have a statue of him. That Carl, I don't know. I think I have a Jones of Bari video already out, but I also have day trips. I have that little video, I think Walter wrote shorts on Matera. That'll give you some of my tips, but you'll see go spend the night in Matera, spend a night in Bari, 2 nights in Bari, 1 night in Matera. You'll love it. I love it there. A quarter of the crowds that people get the Amalfi Coast, and it's just so cool. So cool. Let's see. Monica, cheapest flights from the southwest of the U.S., particularly Arizona to Europe. We usually fly to Madrid or UK, then fly to the next destination. So that was one of the things. We were looking at trying to get a job teaching in Arizona. I teach in Illinois right now. We're looking at a job in Arizona and getting from Arizona to Europe. This is 6 or 7 years ago. We were looking. It was so complicated that it was the prices were we might as well just stay here. We were if we move to Arizona, we're gonna start focusing more on South America and Asia because we were finding cheaper flights. Your probably best bet is going through Dallas with American, to be honest, because Dallas has really opened up a lot of stuff. So, Isabel, what advice would you give a woman traveling alone in Italy? Use your same common sense you use wherever you live. I will say if you're in places like Milan and Rome, the beggars are very, very, very over the top sometimes. And I remember I've taken students there and I actually had to physically pull them off my students to get them away from them. So if someone's trying to come, they're going to ask for stuff, just cross the street, get away from them. Or just remember, just yell, no, get away from it. And you don't have any shame at yelling as loud as you can because those I almost had to fight with the guy because he wouldn't leave my students alone. But it doesn't happen that often. You'll be fine. You'll just be aware when you're out at night. I would say, have your money belt. So if you are crossbody bag, and there's crossbody bags that have a wire in it, so they can't just cut and go, but you should be okay. Don't let it stop you. You're going to love it. Don't worry. HG51, thank you very much for the super chat. My favorite travel channel. Which one is it? Tell me. Next up is Paris for a week, and he suggests on learning French. I actually have a few videos on learning basic French. Just remember, just know, anytime you walk into a store, you walk into a restaurant, you always say bonjour when you go in. Good day, bonjour, because that is what you do when you go to a store. Everyone says bonjour, bonjour. You do that, you'll be fine. If you walk in, don't say anything. It's like they should tell them to go screw up. So bonjour, know that when you walk in, you'll be okay. And then just try. And that's the thing. The French, in Paris, sometimes they get a little bit weird because they have so many tourists, but they're always very nice. France gets a bad rap. I've always had a good time there. No one's really messed with us when we've been there, so it's been fun. Marcos knows, sticking with parents. Have you been to a destination where the Olympic Games are happening? Any tips going to the Olympics in Paris 24 because 20 was interrupted by a pandemic? Yes, I have. We actually filmed a bunch of stuff in Brazil right before the Olympics and the World Cup because there was so much bad press in Brazil. We thought it was unfair. I'm actually going to be in France in June, I think June or May. And I'll be filming stuff specifically for the Olympics. But basically, it's going to be stupid expensive. They're going to overcharge you more than usual, but you can still do a good time. But what's cool is in Paris, they're trying to keep it all really close. So it's more compact in an area. So if you're going to go to events, it's going to be a lot easier. You're welcome, Carl. Thank you. Al, what's your thoughts on renting a car from Sorrento to Tuscany area? It's doable. Just make sure they let you drop it off. So you're gonna need to have like a Europa car or a not a local chain. You gotta have more of a national chain or Europe-wide chain to do that, because the smaller ones don't let you drop it off some other places. In Europe, I found that the drop off at a different location fees are a lot more than in the US. So be aware of that one. Let's see what else we have. Sorry, it's jumping around on me again. Okay, so if you have a question I haven't answered, please put it in again, and I'll start answering some more questions. Oh, here you go. Mark Finley was talking to Monica. Dallas, Fort Worth to JFK, then book a separate flight to Europe. From there, I've done it's usually the cheapest way. Yeah, that's one of the things you can look for. It's kind of like if you're thinking about going to Greece, we actually usually don't fly directly to Greece. We fly to Italy and spend some time there and then fly over, because it's literally sometimes half the price to go to Italy than Greece. And then we get an easy jet for like $50 to go over there. So, de rien, Mark, de rien. Have fun. Okay, cruise stop, Porto, Portugal in June. What's the best thing to do? I'll go to Port Wine Caves, go along the Ribeira district, which is on the riverfront. Do that. The house music's nice. The Salzburg train station. It's not the main station. Salzburg station is the station that's on like that funny, like the really cool bridge that you'll see on all the pictures. Go up there. They have beautiful blue tiles in there. Do that. You have a good time. Eat at Francesinha, which is a Porto treat, which is like bread and meat and stuff. There's a sauce on it. Really, really good. Andre, love your videos. Learned so much from them. Brazilian Canadian fan here. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Two places I love. Love Brazil. Love Canada. Two great tastes. They go great together. Right, Andre? Also, Canada has way better Kit Kat Chunkies, and Brazil has the McCheddar, which is like we used to have it in the US, but it's think of like a whole wheat bun at McDonald's, but it has a burger, but they have like the nacho, like nacho cheese you get at the your swim club when you were a kid on it, and bacon. Oh my God, it was so good. So good. Quinn, okay, are you planning on going to Southeast Asia this year? If so, what countries? I have one. Don't for Vietnam. PDA is not calling shown in public by locals, so don't you? Yeah, that is a big one in Southeast Asia. There is not a lot of PDA. Like that's one of those things. Like Jocelyn's like, babe, I know you love me and I love you, but we need not to show too much affection sometimes. So this is one. So my friend and I were going to be going there because he has a conference in Singapore. So we were going to go there and then do like Thailand, Cambodia, Laos together. Maybe I don't think I'd have time for Vietnam, but now his thing changed. So now we're meeting in Dublin in June, and he's coming to the US this summer to see me. So I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to get there. So things just kind of got a little crazy. Oops, sorry. Don't worry, Nora. We're always flying a lot. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Katie, thank you very much for hopping on. Do you have any recommendations for a small town to stay overnight between Porto and Lisbon using public transportation? Coimbra is basically your only option. Coimbra, it's with a C. C-O-I-N. I'll type it in here for you. Coimbra. It's a university town. They have what's called the Quebra Costas, the backbreaker. There's a hill like this. Don't worry, you don't have to walk up it, but it's like this. And the library in the university is incredible. You'll see it's postcard worth. Look up Coimbra Library, or just put Portuguese library, like not the one in Lisbon. There's one out there. That's the one I'd recommend you stop at because that is on the train line. Easiest way to do. But if you're going to be in Porto and you're looking for day trips, like Braga is good. Guimarães is also really nice to go see for day trips from there. So you might look at doing something like that, but they're not on that train line that goes to Lisbon though. So that is the thing. Tech boy, look in safety in Portugal. Do I need to wire safety bag so it's not cut off? Not in Lisbon. No. The only worries you have to have in Lisbon, if you're on train 28, there's pickpockets on there, and the guy's selling fake drugs in Lisbon. Otherwise, you're fine. Portugal is probably the safest place to go in Europe. Why does my global entry not allow for TSA? Because global entry is not TSA pre-check. Global entry is a separate thing. TSA pre-check is a separate thing. So that's why. Nigel, what's your favorite overnight train journey in Europe? It's been a lifelong dream of mine. Okay, so Nigel, back in the day, we're talking like in the 90s and the early 2000s, I used to take the night trains all the time. I would night train Berlin to Paris, then Paris to Barcelona, or Paris to Madrid, and then Madrid to Lisbon because I had friends there. And that was before we had EasyJet and all the cheap airlines. And I would say my favorite ones were going in Eastern Europe. But the Eastern Europe ones is because you'd always meet crazy people and you drink with them, party with them. But make sure you damn well lock all of your bags and you lock your bags onto the thing because, yeah, that's all I'm going to say, my friend. They were freaking fun. Oh. Amit, hey, thanks for being on here. Think of visiting Cologne or Brussels. I've not been to either. Any thoughts on which one is better? Cologne, go to Cologne. And when you're in Cologne, go over to Bonn. Tons of great museums in Bonn, but Cologne wins for me. Hands down. Ooh, Emily, very nice. Planning on honeymoon through Italy. Do you have any favorite wineries for reds? So the winery stuff, all the wines are good. You're not going to have a problem. And you're not going to be drinking wine like that. Okay. I would say if you're going to go, I mean, Tuscany always does best. What I'd recommend for kind of like we need to relax and recoup day, I would look for cooking classes in Tuscany. And there's some cooking class I can't remember that we right before COVID, we were actually going to go film a bunch of like cooking class stuff with these people, and they did cooking and winery tours. So it was like they would take you to go to the store and they'd buy the stuff, teach you about that, and then you go to the winery, learn about that, and then the evening you cook everything and drink your wine while you're cooking. It wasn't in Florence. God, I can't remember what it was. I wouldn't even know where to look for it, but there are those. I would look for some of those that tie it together because the winery tours, there's a lot of them there, but I would do one that they go to take you around. And since it's the two of you, you don't need to do one just the two of you because that'd be too romantic. You might want to do one where it's like, hey, we got a group of like 8, 10, 20 people, kind of like we do the Napa Valley kind of thing. Have one of those so you get to see like 3 wineries together. I would do something like that. Because I've been to Europe and I've been married and I've been on honeymoon and sometimes you're tired. So you got to have something else to do. So yeah. Let's see. Michael, lots of tips on Barcelona. I got a bunch of videos, a bunch more videos coming out. Just, watch your wallet on La Rambla. Just be careful with that. Otherwise, it's a cool city. Laura, Copenhagen, get the hot dog, but don't eat it like this. Lean over like this so the stuff falls on the ground, doesn't ruin your clothes. That would be my first biggest tip for there. Also, don't expect to make any friends in Copenhagen because the Danes don't give a rat's about anybody. That's always love when people are like, oh, the Danes and the Finns and the Swedes, that's the happiest places. I'm like, I don't know the definition of happy is because there's no smiles. But lots of great bakeries when you're there. So you have that.
Satisfied.
Satisfied, yes.
Not happy.
Victoria, hi. Hoping to train from Stockholm to an Arctic Circle city. Any suggestion which one? Looks like there might be some track work planning. Oh, there's always track work plan. There's always track work that slows up the trains. That happens. You can go up. My friend used to live. I mean, I know when I lived in Finland, we go up to Rovaniemi or Oulu, up there. But that's Finland side. There's. You're not gonna have a problem. You'll get up there. They'll get you up there. No problem. Favorite place in Wales? Brecon Beacons National Park. Love the hikes. Love the fact that it's a dark sky. It's dark sky. It's like a world thing, like dark sky reserve. Like you can see the stars better than lots of places around the world. Really, really, really cool place to be. So let's see. Bruce, what do you suggest for a 10-hour layover at Chicago here? Go in, artists to Chicago. You could go, or museums are expensive in Chicago, but you could do because you have all this stuff that's down there because you have the Art Institute, you can go to the Shedd Aquarium, you can go to the Natural History Museum or the Field Museum. You can get to the Museum of Science and Industry. Like with 10 hours, you got a lot of time. If you're connecting domestic, give yourself about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get back through security because Chicago sometimes takes some time. So, yes. Let's see. First time going south, Australia, New Zealand. Ooh. If you're a mountain person and a Lord of the Rings person, it's New Zealand. If it's beaches and craziness and insane people, then it's Australia. That would be my advice. Paris or Rome better? They're both awesome. I can't. It's like picking between my two kids. I love them both. Different ways. I love them both. Anyway, so we're getting at the end of our hour here. My wife's giving me the googly eyes, so I better wrap it up today. I wish you all a fantastic weekend. Thank you for all popping on. I really appreciate it. Just hadn't been on for live for a while, so I just want to talk and answer your questions. So I hope I got to help some people out there. Enjoy your time. 5 days, Puglia, Bari, Madera, and Poliano Mare. Yeah, those three right there. There's also I have a video.
Albero Bello.
Albero Bello. That's another.
Bye.
It has like the truly houses like this. You can do them all. Do them all. You have plenty of time. Enjoy it. So don't forget to thank you, Yousers. One of my best commenters right here, right there. Awesome. Thank you. So I wish you all the best. They say hi, Jocelyn.
Hi, everyone.
So all the best to everybody. Have a great travels wherever your travels take you. And we'll be back soon. Enjoy your day. Remember, tomorrow is five favorite places in Italy to go travel to. And today's video was the scams of Rome. So have a great time. I'll say bye, everybody. Hey, Bubba, good to see you. Bye, Nick. Bye, everybody.
Bye.